O'Neill, Vice President of St. Mary's Hospital in Athens, Georgia. And I'm here to tell you about the inception of the St. Mary's Lullaby. Approximately 3.5 years ago, we had a tragedy in our community where 2 children were burned to death. Within 5 minutes, the whole hospital had heard about this tragedy, and the morale had markedly decreased from what it was earlier in the day. It became apparent to me that I thought of the many wonderful things that happen in hospitals and the fact that we don't ever celebrate those. So through this process and in talking with the public relations director, it came to our mind that perhaps we would have Mark Maxwell write a lullaby for St. Mary's specifically, and then see how we could hook it into our obstetrical unit outside of labor and delivery. And every time we had a baby, we would celebrate the birth throughout the hospital with the playing of this lullaby. My one regret is that we did not have a model or a tool somehow to measure the morale of the hospital before and after the implementation of the lullaby. On many occasions now, I walk down the hall and I'll hear people say, "Oh, we've had a baby," and there's a soft smile that comes to their face. We have had calls from grandparents around the country who have children in Athens who have called and wanted this tape and a copy of the lullaby for their other children that are having babies in other parts of the United States. I think it's made a major difference in our hospital, in our obstetrical unit, and we are happy to celebrate life in such a joyful manner.
Hi, I'm Becky Pageant. I'm a mother of 3 children and also a teacher for the past 17 years. 21 months ago, I gave birth to my 3rd child, 2nd son, at St. Mary's Hospital. And one of the most memorable things for my whole family was our tape with St. Mary's Lullabies. It was a momentous occasion, of course, to give birth, but the tape itself made such a difference with my children.
Let's see, I've been at St. Mary's in Athens now for about 2 years, and I came here from a large hospital in Florida also called St. Mary's. I have been very impressed with the tape that we're using here. We didn't have that at the other hospital. It's really great when the parents have heard from other people about a lullaby that's being played just for their baby in the hospital, and the fact that they get to take that tape home and then their children listen to it. I think it's really a wonderful thing.
The nurses told me about the St. Mary's Lullaby, how after the birth of a child, they play the lullaby all over the hospital, and I thought that was it was so neat. So when I went home that night before checking in the next morning to the hospital, I told my family about it. And my oldest son was so excited. He just thought that was great, that there was going to be a song played over the hospital for his baby.
We have been using the lullaby tape that Mark wrote for us about 3.5 years now. The sound is piped into all the labor rooms, really the LDR rooms, where the parents can hear the song after their baby is born. We give the daddy the option of pushing the famous lullaby button as they're on their way to the nursery with the baby. The tape is heard throughout the hospital, regardless of the hour of day or night, whenever we have a birth. It's interesting to watch the reactions of the hospital employees. They can be deep in conversation, but yet when they hear the music, they kind of stop and smile. It gives sort of a fresh uplift to whatever's going on around them.
My husband was downstairs, and there were a group of people in the waiting room, and he was waiting for me to get off work, and the music started to play. And an elderly woman looked at someone else and said, "Oh, a baby was born." And so she knew the song. And I think that in a place where there's so much sadness all the time, it is so refreshing to the staff, to the visitors, to the people, when they know that a new life has come into the world. And you know, not someone sick or in pain, and I think that that's a really positive thing with this tape. And, you know, I think that that's the comment I hear more than anything else, is that, you know, it's a joyful sound.
My oldest son was in the hospital about 1.5 years after our baby's birth, and he was in isolation in pediatrics. He was a very sick little boy. He heard the lullaby being played in his room, and he looked up at me, this sick little boy, and said, "Mama, a baby's being born."
I know nurses on some of the other floors, and sometimes they make comments about being with their patients or being with a visitor of the patient, and they ask about the lullaby. And the nurse gets to share with them that it's about a new delivery. And sometimes in a crisis like a code or someone taking a turn for the worse or a death, for the staff, it's kind of nice to hear that lullaby and know that there's a good thing going on in the hospital too, and a new life.
We've had visitors comment about how unique it is, but the one comment that I have heard in the past 3 years that meant the most to me came to me from one of our male attendants. He told me that one evening he had been helping with a Code 99 resuscitation effort, which was unsuccessful. And when he walked out of the patient's room, he was feeling very down, but almost at the same time, he heard the lullaby. And he said it brought a whole new meaning to his day and what had gone on right before that.